There are places in America that shimmer with promise from the outside, but step inside and you'll find something very different. Cities with broken foundations, long-forgotten streets, and a silence that feels more eerie than peaceful. Today, we're peeling back the surface to reveal 10 U.S. cities where daily life can feel like a slow unraveling. These are places where dreams dissolve under the weight of crime, decay, and neglect, where residents fight battles many of us never see. But before we start, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're pulling back the curtain, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's dive in. St. Louis has faced a sharp decline in livability due to a mix of economic, social, and safety concerns. Once a thriving industrial hub, it now suffers from a dwindling population, dropping from 856,000 in 1950 to under 300,000 today. One of the most alarming issues is crime. In 2023, St. Louis ranked as one of the most dangerous cities in the U.S., with a violent crime rate of 1,927 incidents per 100,000 people, over 5 times the national average. Infrastructure is crumbling, with vacant buildings and abandoned lots dominating many neighborhoods. Public schools are underfunded, and residents frequently cite poor city services and limited job opportunities. While certain pockets like Central West End remain livable, the overall disparity between neighborhoods is stark. For many, the constant threat of crime combined with economic stagnation and a lack of upward mobility makes St. Louis a city that's difficult to call home. Detroit's history is rich, but its modern-day struggles make it difficult for many to live there comfortably. After the collapse of the auto industry and decades of population loss, the city now has vast stretches of abandoned homes and overgrown lots. Nearly 20% of all properties are vacant. The poverty rate sits at an alarming 30%, nearly triple the national average. While crime has declined in recent years, Detroit still records over 1,500 violent crimes per 100,000 residents. Public services remain inconsistent. Some neighborhoods experience weeks-long waits for trash pickup or repairs to street lighting. The education system also faces severe challenges, with underfunded schools and low graduation rates. Only around 76% of high school students graduate on time. Despite ongoing revitalization efforts downtown, the majority of residents continue to face economic hardship and a lack of basic infrastructure, making day-to-day living difficult and, for many, unsustainable. Jackson has made national headlines in recent years, but not for good reasons. The city's water crisis is perhaps its most visible issue. In 2022 and again in 2023, residents were without safe drinking water for weeks due to aging infrastructure and systemic neglect. Boil water notices are still frequent. Jackson's poverty rate hovers around 27%, and over half of the city's roads are in poor or failing condition. Public schools struggle with limited funding and staffing shortages, with local reports showing crumbling facilities and outdated materials. Violent crime is another pressing issue. The homicide rate has frequently ranked among the highest per capita in the country. With a shrinking tax base and slow emergency response times, Jackson's government services are strained. Many residents feel abandoned by leadership, both state and local. For those who live there, basic services like clean water and safe neighborhoods are far from guaranteed. Baltimore's issues are deeply rooted and affect daily life in ways that are hard to ignore. Despite being just 40 miles from Washington, D.C., Baltimore feels worlds apart. The city's violent crime rate remains one of the highest in the nation, with nearly 2,000 violent crimes per 100,000 residents annually. Gun violence in particular continues to plague several neighborhoods. Public schools are underfunded and underperforming, with many students lacking access to updated textbooks, technology, or even heating and air conditioning. The poverty rate sits at 21%, and many neighborhoods are still suffering from the after-effects of redlining and economic segregation. Infrastructure problems, from pothole-ridden streets to unreliable public transit, make day-to-day life frustrating. While there are revitalized areas like the Inner Harbor and Federal Hill, the gap between those and struggling communities like Sandtown, Winchester is stark. For many residents, Baltimore remains a place of potential overshadowed by persistent instability and neglect. Gary is often cited as a cautionary tale of industrial decline. Once home to a booming steel industry, it now holds fewer than 70,000 residents, down from nearly 180,000 in the 1960s. The city has the highest rate of vacant homes in Indiana, with entire neighborhoods consisting of boarded-up properties and overgrown lots. Crime is a serious concern. Gary consistently ranks among the top U.S. cities for violent crime per capita. The local economy offers few opportunities, with unemployment rates often hovering well above the national average. Public schools are chronically underfunded, and the local government has struggled to maintain basic services due to a shrinking tax base. Infrastructure is outdated, and public transportation options are limited, making it difficult for residents to commute to jobs outside the city. Despite its proximity to Chicago, Gary feels disconnected and forgotten, with many residents trapped in a cycle of poverty and systemic disinvestment. By now, you've probably heard some cities on this list that made you raise an eyebrow, or maybe nod in agreement. But we want to hear from you. Have you lived in one of these cities? Do you agree with how we broke things down? Drop your experiences in the comments. We read every single one, and your stories might even end up in a future video. And if there's a city you think should have made this list, or maybe a place that's unfairly judged, let us know. We're always on the lookout for real, raw stories from the people who live them. While you're here, give this video a like if you're finding it thought-provoking, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We've got more deep dives just around the corner. San Bernardino may sit in sunny Southern California, but its reality is far from idyllic. The city declared bankruptcy in 2012, and while it has emerged from that status, its financial instability lingers. Poverty is rampant. About 27% of residents live below the poverty line, and the city's unemployment rate consistently ranks above the national average. Crime is another major issue, with over 1,300 violent crimes per 100,000 people reported annually. Schools are under-resourced, and high dropout rates reflect the challenges students face both in and out of the classroom. Homelessness has increased steadily, exacerbated by high housing costs despite the city's low income levels. Infrastructure is deteriorating, and many roads and public buildings are in visible disrepair. Though the surrounding mountains offer natural beauty, the daily experience for many San Bernardino residents includes economic hardship, safety concerns, and underfunded public systems. It's a city weighed down by unmet needs and unrealized potential. Stockton made headlines as one of the largest cities in the U.S. to declare bankruptcy in 2012, and while it has made strides since, the city still battles significant challenges. With a poverty rate of around 19% and high housing costs, many residents are financially strained. Stockton's violent crime rate remains high, with about 1,300 violent crimes per 100,000 residents, including a persistent gang presence. Schools struggle with funding, and graduation rates lag behind the state average. While revitalization projects downtown have shown some promise, they haven't substantially improved the quality of life for those in outlying neighborhoods. Homelessness continues to rise, and affordable housing is scarce. Public services, including transportation and emergency response, are stretched thin. For many residents, life in Stockton means choosing between safety, affordability, and basic quality of life, none of which are consistently guaranteed. The gap between city leadership promises and street-level reality remains wide. Birmingham has a rich history and cultural legacy, but today's residents face numerous challenges that make it a difficult place to live for many. With a poverty rate near 24%, economic hardship is widespread. Violent crime is a major issue. The city consistently ranks among the most dangerous in the U.S., with over 1,600 violent crimes per 100,000 people. Public schools are under-resourced, and education outcomes remain troubling. Many schools face teacher shortages and aging facilities. Infrastructure problems are common, with roads, sewer systems, and public transit all in need of significant upgrades. Air quality has also been a long-term concern, especially given the city's industrial roots. While some neighborhoods have seen revitalization, others are marked by abandoned buildings and limited access to healthcare, fresh food, or job opportunities. For many in Birmingham, the struggle isn't just economic, it's structural, with generational inequality making daily life persistently challenging. Shreveport has been losing population steadily for years, and the reasons why are closely tied to quality of life issues. The poverty rate hovers around 25% and unemployment remains persistently high. Violent crime is a major concern, with nearly 1,200 violent crimes per 100,000 residents annually. Infrastructure is visibly decaying. Potholes are common, water main breaks frequent, and many public facilities need urgent maintenance. The education system faces significant hurdles, with local schools ranking among the lowest performing in the state. Public transportation is limited, making it hard for low-income residents to access jobs, healthcare, or grocery stores. Even basic city services like garbage pickup and emergency response have seen delays. Add to that high utility costs and limited recreational options, and the picture becomes even grimmer. Though community pride remains strong, many residents feel underserved and stuck. For those without the means to leave, Shreveport's conditions often feel inescapable. Anchorage might seem like an unusual entry, but beneath its natural beauty lies a host of livability challenges. Isolated geographically, residents face extremely high costs for groceries, fuel, and utilities, nearly 30% above the national average. Housing prices have risen sharply in recent years, making affordability a growing concern. Winters are long, dark, and brutal, with sub-zero temperatures and limited sunlight contributing to high rates of seasonal depression. Anchorage also struggles with a surprisingly high crime rate, especially for a city of its size. It reported over 1,100 violent crimes per 100,000 people in 2023. Public transportation is sparse and unreliable, making car ownership a necessity, another financial burden. Mental health and addiction services are limited despite high demand, and rural communities nearby often lack even basic access. While nature lovers may find peace in its scenery, Anchorage presents real ongoing difficulties that can make daily life incredibly taxing for many of its residents. These cities tell a story that's not just about infrastructure or crime rates, it's about neglect, resilience, and the quiet struggles of everyday people trying to live their lives in places that were never meant to fall this far. Some of them may rise again, others may continue to fade. But one thing is clear. The picture-perfect version of America that gets posted online doesn't always match what's happening on the ground. If this video made you think, share it with someone who needs to see the other side of the story. And if you haven't already, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you're part of our journey as we explore the places people talk about and the ones they try to forget. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep looking deeper.